The Electoral Commission of South Africa has commended the marked increase in youth participation compared to the last elections. Giving an update on the outcomes of the last voter registration weekend, the Commission saying of the over 1 million new registration, some of these were young people under the age of 29, and they make up 77% of the people who registered in the last voter registration drive. So, what could the reasons be? What are we seeing here? Is it a change in pattern despite the many challenges that young people face in our country? And we all know, key among them is the matter of unemployment. I'm joined now by the ANC Youth League's National Coordinator of Elections Subcommittee, Lufefe Mkutu. We're also joined by the IFP Youth Brigade Secretary, Mlungisi Mabaso. To both of you, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to ask a very similar question to both of you. Let's kick it off with you, Mr. Mkutu. The IEC is saying here that the chronic underrepresentation of young people in past elections this year, that seems to have now been reversed. What do you attribute this to, in your view?
No, thank you very much, Xoli, and good morning to you and your viewers. No, I think, Xoli, young people have come out to register to vote for the 2024 general elections because they understand, firstly, the importance of taking responsibility and participating in the democratic process. And I think that this is indicative of the commitment of young people of South Africa to shape the future of their country. And you know that, only that for the past 30 years, the governing party has been at the center of transforming institutions, democratic institutions in our country, but also has been part of the project of transforming the social fiber of our country. And I think that this is a vote of confidence from young people that indeed young people trust the democratic process, and they believe that by voting, their voice will matter in the voting process. And I think also, Xoli, young people have been yearning to be part of decision making in our country. And I think that this is the first real big step that young people are saying we're taking responsibility to be part of taking a major decision on who must lead our country going towards the future.
Yeah. Mr. Mabaso, let's come to you. Of the 27 million registered voters, because that's the figure as things stand according to the IEC, of that, young people between the ages of 20 to 29, they make up just over 4 million of those 27 million. Do you think that is good enough, given that we live in a country that is largely made up of young people?
Well, I don't think it's good enough. Greetings to you and the viewers and my colleague from the African National Congress. I don't think it's good enough, considering that young people are, in a way, a majority in the population. But I think it is a step towards the right direction, and I think we need to appreciate the efforts made by those young people that have decided to be part of those that wants to shape the future of this country. But yes, we understand that why the majority of young people do not want to participate in this democratic process, because they feel that government is not assisting them in addressing the issues that they are facing on a daily basis. And, by government failing to provide solutions, and answers to all the challenges that they are facing, they don't really see the need for them to be part of those that wants to decide and shape the future of this country. But we do, in fact, as the IFP, appreciate the efforts made by those that they've decided to put their name on the voters' roll, so that comes the election day, they are part, of South Africans that will then decide the future of this country and decide where they want to take, the government of this country.
Well, let's put your version, Mr. Mabaso, to Mr. Mkutu, because when Mr. Mabaso says that young people are blaming government, and that is why they at times feel that it's pointless for them to participate in the vote. Mr. Mkutu, that then is squarely placed at your door because you are in an organization that is linked to the governing party of the day. What responsibility do you take, or what is it that you think needs to be done that has not been done to galvanize young people?
No, Xoli. I think, of course, there are challenges in relation to addressing the needs of young people, and in the main is the issue of youth unemployment. And I think, Xoli, you'd realize that in 1994, when the ANC took over government, or took over South Africa, so to speak, we took over a country that excluded others to the margins of poverty and excluded others from opportunities, participating in opportunities of our country. And it is this ANC that has transformed that society. It's this ANC now that has been able to massify access to education through its interventions such as NSFAS. It is this ANC that has built a red economy and has built it and has given it life so that it is able to give opportunities to all South Africans, whether black or white or colored or pink. And the ANC continues to intervene to try and ensure that there's access to opportunities in our country. But of course, I mean, the issue that this country, it's only the ANC that has a responsibility of building this country and the economy of this country so that it is able to give opportunities and to absorb young people is a fallacy. The ANC has created conducive conditions for businesses, the private sector, to be able to participate in our country. There's a stability in our country. The ANC, in fact, even to its detriment, has adopted economic policies that must appease the private sector so that they come and invest in our country. But the private sector has not been coming to the party. It is on an investment strike. It has not been able to build industries as per the neoliberal concept that we must give the market to lead and create opportunities and create a dynamic economy.
Okay.
And this can't be blamed to the ANC. But the ANC now, as the Youth League was saying, the ANC needs to take a leading role through the state to intervene in the economy and to ensure that it changes the structure of our economy to the benefit of all majority South Africans.
Lufefe.
And we're saying that
Lufefe.
to reindustrialize the economy.
I have to stop you. Lufefe, I have to stop you. I have to stop you because the guest that you are on with on the other side, he's laughing. And he's laughing because I suspect you're saying things that he probably thinks we're not living in the same country. Do you agree, Mlungisi, when Lufefe says the ANC has created conducive conditions for businesses, private business, to thrive? Do we sit with load shedding today?
No, I mean, I don't know whether he arrived last week in South Africa. I mean, what kind of conducive environment is that where there is load shedding in the country, where there is crime in the country, where they have allowed, illegal immigrants, to invade even the local economic space in our townships? So what kind of, conducive environment is that? I mean, if you go to universities, students are unable to access any SPAs. They get allocated in residential areas that are not even conducive for them to study. So what kind of conducive environment is he referring to? And that is the biggest challenge, in fact, that young people are facing in this country, that the ANC has not created a conducive environment for young people to participate in the mainstream economy, for young people to access quality education, so that at least they are able to address all the issues that they've been failing, to attend to in the previous years. And it is the very same ANC, in fact, government that where we have seen the inequality in the country, where we have seen the exclusion of our people, in the economy, in the job market, in all, important sectors of our society. So it is the very same, and they cannot really blame the apartheid government. I mean, they've been in power for almost 30 years now. And I think that time is sufficient, to address all the inequalities and the exclusions, that were caused by the apartheid government. I mean, if you go to Johannesburg, for example, there are quite a number of developments, like in your orange farm areas. There are no economic activities there.
Yeah.
And that development, in fact, was implemented and initiated by the democratic government of South Africa. So what kind of inclusion are they referring to if they talk to, economic inclusion and trying to address the inequalities of the past? Because they are also implementing the very same policies that the apartheid government was implementing, of excluding people of the mainstream economy.
Gentlemen, I think what we have now done is to elucidate or to put up the issues that affect young people, but let's not forget what we are discussing here, and that is the prospects for young people. But I would want to think that the prospects of young people are tied to your electoral prospects from the parties in which you come. And so let's start with you, Mr. Mkutu, who comes from the ANC. The stats are clear for all to see. Political pundits, you talk about the surveys that have been conducted. They suggest that the ANC is fast becoming a rural party. Is that where things are for the ANC? Because if that's the case, I suspect young people are going to shy further and further away from the ANC. What strategies do you have?
So I think, Xoli, firstly, those of us who are in the ground, who have interacted with young people, both from townships and from the rural areas, and South Africans in general, I differ with that research. I differ with that view. People of South Africa love the ANC across the country and across all social classes. But of course, they are raising concerns about the health of the ANC. They are raising concerns about the capacity of the ANC in many instances to deliver on some of its promises. But quite generally, the people are just saying to the ANC that there is no alternative in this country that we see, that we can vote for, that is able to unite this country. There's no alternative that has been able to bring in this country stability. I mean, if you look at these coalition governments, people are saying on the ground that we don't want to extend this issue of coalition government, this chaos of coalition government, to our national government. The ANC must clean its house. The ANC must be serious about its renewal and rebuilding process. We have full confidence in the ANC. So I don't agree with that research. And in fact, Xoli, I think that research wants to push a narrative that the ANC really indeed is a rural party. But if you look at the stats, Xoli, in the local government election where the ANC has lost power, for instance in NMB, you'll find that people did not go out and vote. They did not vote against the ANC, but they decided because they had their own issues with the ANC, they felt that they must just stay in their houses and not go and vote.
Yeah,
but this is not a vote of no confidence against the ANC, but it's to say to the ANC that we are communicating a message that says fix your house, but we have full confidence in you. We're not going to vote against you, but we're just going to retreat from the process.
And what you are referring to is something of a new term that one of the professors sort of brought about, and that is to say, yes, there's voter apathy, but now there is also what is called voter hostility to voting. And that's what I want to put to you, Mr. Mabaso, because the ANC, for all its problems, it is still one of the political parties that are counted in the top three: ANC, Democratic Alliance, the EFF. The rest, the understanding is that you are not making the desired impact. If we look at the IFP, how do you bring yourselves, I mean, your counterpart is laughing, how do you bring yourselves out of being a regional party, if you like? KwaZulu-Natal has always been your strong base, but how do you build yourself out of that and in the process attracting young people? I think you're muted. I think you're muted, sir. I don't know what is going on. We can't not have your last.
No.
There we go. There we go. We've got you now. Please go ahead. We've got you now, Mlungisi. Please go ahead and respond.
No, thank you very much. We have improved. Oh, thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Yebo, we've got you.
Okay, no, thank you very much. I was actually saying the IFP has made great inroads in the urban areas. I mean, in KZN, for example, we managed to receive maximum support in Richards Bay for us to govern that municipality through a coalition. In Durban, we increased our representation in council. In Gauteng, we were able to increase our representation in councils, both in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. We were able to get a seat in Tshwane for the first time. So that tells you that the IFP is making great inroads in the urban areas. And in Pietermaritzburg, we won a award. In the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal, we won a award. For the first time, I was in Mpumalanga for the past weekend. And I can tell you that, the membership that we are receiving in Mpumalanga and the support that we are getting in Mpumalanga tells you that the IFP is now making inroads even in other parts of South Africa. So the work that we've been doing, the investment that we have done in our programs as the IFP to make sure that we mobilize people to support the organization, we are seeing great improvement and we are happy with what we have quite achieved. And the performance of 2021 local government elections tells you that the IFP now is becoming a serious role player in the political environment in South Africa. And the majority, in fact, of our membership in the IFP is young people that have come in their numbers in support of the IFP. And we really appreciate that and we are happy with the work that we've been doing, even at the structure of the youth in the IFP, because we've been on the ground, we've been mobilizing young people to join the IFP. And the membership that we have received, in fact, proves that, we are on the right direction and the IFP is receiving, the maximum support that we want from the young people. And we are happy with what we have achieved so far.
Mlungisi Mabaso, let me thank you very much for your time. The IFP's Youth Brigade. We also were joined by the ANC Youth League's National Coordinator, and he is part of the Elections Subcommittee, Lufefe Mkutu. Thank you very much to both of you, gentlemen.